Hey everyone, it's LC here, Publix Outdoors. Looks like a mess here, huh? That would be correct. What we're going to do tonight, we're going to do some refletching here. And usually this is something that I've already got bare shafts and ready to rock right off the bat. But nowadays it's really tough to get components. You may have to wait a while. You may not be able to even find them. So I've got some of these that I made up last year. A couple of them are kind of beat up. So we're just going to refletch them. They're a 340 spine in the Hunter XTs. And I really wanted to do the Hunter Max on these. But if you remember, any of you that have followed my channel for a while, when I went to tack last year, I had built these for tack and then ended up putting these too far back. So they were hitting on my face. I was getting facial pressure because they were too far back. So we need to redo these. And I really wanted to try I really want to put these Max Hunters on these. I just think they fly and they stabilize really quick out of the bow. So we went ahead and ordered a bunch more in orange. So what we're going to do is we're going to end up taking all these. Now the reason that I ended up, I think, doing that was because if you see here on these two arrows here, see how the label is up higher than the other one? So what I did there on this set was they had a lot of wobble, so I was cutting off of two different ends. So I was taking off of this end and then this end, and it was just, yeah. So that's how you kind of really run into that situation where if you don't worry about your labels, then you're going to have that happen when you cut off your arrows to get some of that wobble out, depending on what brand you go with. So anyway, that's what we're going to do tonight. The weather's crappy outside. We really can't do anything. Kind of had plans to go turkey hunt and fish and do all kinds of stuff this weekend, but weather's just not allowing it. We had really bad storms last night. We're definitely getting rain. So we're gonna go ahead and get this all going, and then I'm just gonna kind of walk through how I do the process here. I've got one already cleaned up, and then if you can see here, I've got my jig. Now, some of you may be familiar with this jig, some of you may not. This is the Last Chance Archery Baitmaster Pro. This I got last year, or maybe it was the year before, I don't remember. But anyway, really love this jig. Yes, it is a lot slower than, you know, your quick fletches and stuff like that. But I'll tell you what, this thing puts them on so precise, and the precision of how you can put these flights on is great. I mean, you can change your degrees, you can change your twist, all that stuff, left to right, back and forth on the shaft. I mean, it's just it's a really good process with this jig. So stable, you don't have to worry about it, and these arrows come out perfect every time. The way that this jig is set up and the way that it locks in on your arrow right away, you should not have any problems with this jig, and that's why I love this jig, and I won't probably change. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started here. And I've already cleaned up one of them here, and the way that I clean those up, I've got to take the old ones off, obviously. I've got a scraper here, and this is the zip strip. So see there, the zip strip. I've had this forever, but you can find these about anywhere, and they just basically run down your shaft and take off whatever flights you've got on there. So you can do this with any of your factory flights that you don't want on there. Just scrape them off the best that you can. I just take my can of acetone and take my knock off, and then I'll just set it in this can of acetone and let the acetone take care of the rest of it. So it's that simple. Run that down there. I gotta clean these all up when I get done, but yeah, just get the majority of it off as much as you can. But that acetone will really loosen that up so it comes off good. And then I'll just do, you know, three or four of them like that. And that's just a simple way of doing these quick. Like I said, I'm trying to get down to the glue. Glue that I use is that Max Bond from AAE, and it doesn't matter what kind of flights I'm using. That's what I use. I love that glue. It's very strong. Don't ever have to worry about it unless you don't prep your stuff right. You don't really have to worry about it. Now AAE flights are kind of weird. They're a different cat. Some of them they recommend you strongly having a primer on their flights, and then others they don't want you to primer them. And it's not something that they just decided to make harder on everybody. It is because of the materials that they're using. So some of their flights are really flimsy and light, and then they have some others that are pretty stiff. So that's probably the reason. I'm sure that's the reason why they've got some of them that are they're just using different materials to make these flights. So different materials require different handling. So we're going to go ahead and get these cleaned up here, and then we'll get started fletching after I get them all cleaned up. We'll be right back. We have them all cleaned up, and I just wanted to show you something here. These arrows, I don't know if you can see it, but they've got quite a bit of scuffing on them from the labels and all that. You know, some of the labels are missing here, and that doesn't bother me. Now, if these were arrows that I was going to take, you know, like to Total Archery Challenge, or you know, like a 3D shoot or something formal, I would call formal, you know, then yeah, I would want these to look a lot nicer than this. But these are hunting arrows, so that's the difference for me anyway. I don't care what these look like. They're gonna go through an animal, so they're gonna get ugly anyway. So here you can see there's a black mark right here. Take this flight out. Now the first thing you want to do is decide where you want this to be as far as your degree of angle and twist. So I've got mine set on 3. That's not real severe, but it's not shallow either. So basically what you'll do is just set your flight in there after that. Okay, and some of these thicker flights don't like to go in there quite as easy as some of the others. So I just line that up with that black spot. You can see that mark there. So I line that up. That way I know I'm the same every time. And if you can see, it's got 2 little half moon rollers here. And those will line up this side and this side depending on how much drop you have. Twist. You want to press those in, make sure that they're sitting flat, and then decide where you want this on your shaft. So my other ones were clear, you know, they were back here, so those should stay out of my face. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fletch one up, and then I will put it in the bow and see where it hits me on the face, and see what it looks like in the bow. If that's all good, then we'll go ahead and redo all of them. You should shoot it before you build them all. But these Max Hunters, they're such a nice big flight that as long as you're clearing your rest, there should be no, and your bow's tuned obviously, you shouldn't have any issues with these flying bad. Unless you've just got a really bad setup, or your arrows are way underspined, or something like that crazy, you know what I mean? Just take the arrow and we stick it in here, and then we bend it around, and I want this to be at this point right here first, and then I'm going to take that gold tip insignia and I'm going to run that straight up and down, so that way I know all my arrows are running. And we got the primer on here, and then we're going to go ahead and put some glue on here. And we want to make sure that we are lined up with that black line. And then we just put this right against that shaft there. And these rollers on the side will line it up perfectly. And then we just let that sit there for a minute. Like I said, this fletching jig is you know, slower, but the precision that you're going to get with every arrow with this jig is phenomenal. You put these fletchings in the same spot every time, they come out exactly perfect every time. You can see that one there, clean, nice and even, and these things fly amazing. And I just didn't primer this one. Whoopsie. Okay, I think we'll be alright. I think we're going to be okay. You can see there how that lines up perfectly. We're just going to push that on. Give a little bit more pressure there towards the end. We don't want to push so hard that we press this. That's what this string and this bungee and this cap are for, is to keep that pressure back on this arrow so it doesn't jump out of the knock set. Oh, see, that one came off. That one came off because I did not primer it. So I don't know if that's going to be. That sucks. Okay, we got to do a quick fix here. I don't know if I have any. I don't know if I have any rags or towels here. We're just going to use our finger. Alright, that's going to have to do. Hopefully that'll be enough. Get that old glue off. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes these flights, certain flights of AAEs, you've got to have that primer on there. It will not stick. And obviously these are one of those for sure. They will not stick unless that primer's on them. I'll go ahead and primer that. I think what that primer does is it kind of etches this material, so that glue really takes to that fletching. Let's see if that worked. See if that little bit of first aid worked on it. Okay, there you go. See, that flight stayed on there now. So that's what I mean. That primer is some magic stuff. We got that one. So now we'll go ahead and take this off. This always gets wrapped up on there. Flip that out of there. Then we'll hit that back side real quick. Just one little dab. It doesn't take much for that part of it. There we go. Boy, those are good looking flight though, aren't they? Alright, well, it's the next day here and we're going to go ahead and shoot a couple of these downrange and just see how they fly. We've got a little bit of a facial breeze today, this morning. I'm sure by this afternoon it'll be crazy windy down here, but I'm just going to throw some of these down here at 50 yards and see how they fly. a chance, like, subscribe. I appreciate everybody's subscriptions to the channel, helping me out on this channel. We're almost to 500. I would love to hit 1,000 before the end of this year. If you can find somebody to just give them an earful of the channel and say, hey, check this guy out. Check out this channel. I think you'll enjoy it. It would really be helpful if you could do that for me. And like the videos and share the videos, obviously. And that also will help me out. So we're trying to get this channel growing, so every little bit helps. So thank you for the support, and we will catch you on the next video. Stay safe out there on your hunts, everybody.